Welcome to Walking His Way podcast, where we'll analyze the instructions that God gives us for how to live successfully and to find a satisfying purpose in this life. I'm Don Fanning. Early in life, we learn what's going to bring us the greatest pleasure in this life. We think maybe it's unlimited fun or uninhibited sex or luxurious wealth or national fame or whatever it is that we think is going to bring us pleasure and satisfaction in this life. But it's all a lie. And we deceive ourselves because our life never is going to measure up. Our reality is quite different from our fantasies, and it's hard to be content and ignore our imaginations. You see, our self-destruction has already begun deep within us, within our minds, of how we think about life. God gives us another way of looking at it, and he warns us how things develop. And let's look and see what he says. Maybe we can find some instruction for how we should live today. James chapter 1, verses 14 to 16 says this, But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. Then when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, brings forth death. Do not be led astray, he warns us, my dear brothers and sisters. See, our self-deception for being led astray starts in the heart and mind with ideas from our own fantasies when we were maybe very young and we begin to think that there's a better life than what we're actually experiencing. The word desire in this passage, where it says that we're led away by our own desires, is a neutral word. It really is translated as lusts or longing for or craving for something, but is neutral because even a good object or a sin could be equally desired. Just depends on what you're focusing on. When sinful benefits and pleasures are allowed to become enticing, they are not counterbalanced with any thought of consequences or negative possibilities. We can easily, you see, be led astray, and we're just sort of driven from within. To enhance the enticement, the mind begins in pleasurable or viral visualization of the sensual activities. And nobody knows it because it's all taking place from within us. Perhaps you have not seriously thought about taking action yet, but already the enticing desire has become more pleasurable than your reality. That's the danger. And God is seen as an obstacle to your enjoyment in this life. When God becomes an enemy, you are on a dangerous path already, because God promises to bring love and joy and peace, not misery and rejection and heartache. Apathy begins, and now the things of God just have little or no interest. It seems private and harmless and secret, and we continue to fake it. If we pretend to be Christians, it's all a fake. There are two symptoms to this phase of our self-deception. It's going to be 4 different phases, but there's 2 symptoms to this phase of our self-deception. The first is a growing discontent with any present situation, possessions, or relationships. Nothing satisfies us. Along with this growing unhappiness begins the thought that one deserves better. I only have this one life. I deserve better than what I'm getting. And when those thoughts begin to find root in the ground in our heart, mutual satisfaction decreases with anything or anybody around us. Arguments abound and dislike grows, and nothing can satisfy us. The second phase is the attraction of greener grass on the other side of the fence, as we say. Ever seen a cow stretch his neck through a fence because he thinks the grass is better on the other side? And that's exactly what happens in this phase. One begins to formulate in his own mind, what if I did this or tried that or had this or could do this? The third phase then is the formulation of a plan to get away with fulfilling one's desires, at least occasionally in secret, and try to keep it away from anybody that is close. By the time an opportunity to be unfaithful or disloyal actually arises so I could get away with it, the person has already deceived himself into believing that this sinful action, whatever it is essential to my happiness in this life, and that God's way can never provide this satisfaction. So I've got to do it. In fact, the person might blame God for his present problems and discontent. The self-deceived person now feels that he has to do it his way to ever be happy. As this process continues, the fourth phase is inevitable. Regardless of the consequences, warnings, or hurts to others, nothing is more important than my selfish desire. It brings forth a violation of God's commands and the horrible consequences that are inevitable. No one can escape them. Sin is never fulfilling, never fulfilling. Tempting thoughts will always come, but we're not forced to follow them. Remember and believe and trust. God's way is always best. Pray like this: Lord, why is it so easy for me to believe that I need stuff or pleasures at any cost, or that I can only be satisfied if I secretly sin? I'm so unlike you, Lord. Teach me to despise sin and to trust your word as my guide always. Well, thank you for listening, and let me encourage you to share this podcast with friends. And wouldn't it be great if everyone lived by these principles? Let's make it happen together. Help by clicking below and sharing this with others in your realm of influence. Check out my website if you want to on www.donfanning.com. A lot of books there and articles that might be of interest. Place there where you can drop me an email if you have a question. Until next time, may God bless you as together we learn to walk His way.